Manchester City have been eliminated from the Club World Cup courtesy of Simone Inzaghi and Al Hilal. And in this video, we're going to look at how good Manchester City's tactics were and how they got them their goals. But we'll also look at how much better Al Hilal's tactics were and why they ended up winning the game. And also going to look at this one change that actually ended up winning Al Hilal the game. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Touchline. Here we break down football matches, and if you're enjoying this video, do make sure to leave a like and subscribe. So Manchester City started with their 2-3-5 shape going forward. We have Gvardiol alongside Diaz at the back, and then you have both, not one, but both of their fullbacks inverting alongside Reinders. And up front, you have Savinho and Doku giving you width, and centrally, you have Erling Haaland, and then in the half spaces, on one side, you have Bernardo Silva, and on the other side, then you have Ilkay Gundogan. Since Doku is so wide, João Cancelo will then try and be tight on Doku, and that would create a space between him and the right centre back. And when this happened, Manchester City will then look to utilize that space. This is where the fullbacks come in, because we all know that Nunes is actually a midfielder but is played as a right back. So him being able to just be outside of the box, he looks at the spaces and then he can attack those spaces. And the same thing applies on the left hand side with Aït-Nouri. He looks at those spaces, and when they're open, he can now make a run towards that space. We see this so well being executed in their first goal. The ball is on the left hand side, and then all of a sudden that space is open. Aït-Nouri and Reinders combine. They find themselves inside the box of Al Hilal, and then their first goal is scored. The goal by Phil Foden, because it's the exact same thing that happens. Manchester City, again, Doku is still wide, pulling the defender towards him. And once again, look at that. That space is there. What happens? Now Foden identifies that space. He runs in, the ball is played to him by Cheki, and then he gets there, he scores the goal. So 2 of the 3 goals that Manchester City scored were from this tactic by Pep from the beginning of the game. But we have to look at the other thing that Al Hilal were doing that Manchester City looked to exploit. They were struggling with dealing with second balls. The ball is played in, it's a cross, it's a corner, and then they get the first touch on the ball. But then the second touch on the ball usually went to Manchester City, except in the second half, which is what we're going to talk about. And even in the goal, you can see this. The ball is the first phase of the corner, the ball is headed, but then Al Hilal failed to deal with the ball, and then it drops to Erling Haaland, who's not going to miss that. What happened at halftime is what makes this game very interesting, because we all know that Al Hilal are a good team. They have ballers in the team, and they have a very good coach, Simone Inzaghi. We will be making a mistake if we didn't talk about the fact that Manchester City had an XG of 4.21 and Al Hilal XG of 3.16, but they ended up scoring 4 goals. And I can't help but think this might be because of this man, Bono, coming up with just incredible, crazy saves. Like, how do you save that? He did keep Al Hilal in the game. But that's not all that we want to talk about, because something changed in the second half. I think that the coach, which is Simone Inzaghi, told them, guys, you're a good team. You can play. It's not like we're trying to win by counters. City are going to have more position, but you can still do something to them. Play your game. And that's exactly what they did when the match started in the second half. You look at how Manchester City were looking to press Al Hilal. It's the same thing that they were doing in the first half. Press them with the 4-4, be aggressive, force them to kick the ball long. But no, João Cancelo is like, nah, I'm not going to do that, mate. Come and press us, and then they press them. The problem now is that Al Hilal coming back from the changing room being told, relax. The problem is that City commit way too many men to press. And now you have Aït-Nouri isolated with a very capable winger who then just plays the ball around and then is gone. A few seconds later, the ball is being crossed by João Cancelo, and then it's a goal. All of a sudden, Al Hilal are back in the game. For the second goal, Manchester City gets a corner kick. And I'm like, oh, this thing again. Al Hilal are going to struggle to defend this. But as usual, Al Hilal defend the corner. First touch is from the Al Hilal player. But the mistake that Manchester City makes in this corner is that in the first half, when the header was done by an Al Hilal player, the Manchester City players would then keep the ball and try to play it around. But this time around, they tried to head it back into the pressure, and then Al Hilal once again win the ball, and now it's a counter, and basically they score their second goal. Now all of a sudden it's 2-1. Now Manchester City were under immense pressure. For the third goal, things really flipped. It just showed that whatever that Inzaghi said to his boys was working, because they get a corner, which they were not good at taking as well. But this time around, the ball moves from the feet of Neves. It goes straight to the head of Koulibaly, and then it's a goal. 3-2. Hey, bad. Problems. City comes back, they equalize, it's 3-3. But for the fourth goal, you just see that Manchester City looked like they were tired, because the space that was there, Al Hilal could just throw the ball into free space, combine for a few touches, switch the ball to the other side. But the critical thing to show that players were exhausted at this point, the ball is crossed, Bernardo Silva is flat-footed inside his own box at such a critical time of the game, and then he just walks, and then in front of him the keeper saves. But then, since he's not ready, because I don't know, was he expecting a goal or he thought it was an offside because he was also raising his hand, the ball bounced, and then off a rebound, Al Hilal scores their fourth goal. Game, set, and match. So I think that this was a very, very good game of football, but I think that Al Hilal stuck to their plan throughout the game, and it worked much better. City didn't have a bad plan, but Al Hilal's was just better. But what did you guys think? Have you liked the video? Have you subscribed? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one, which is this video. YouTube thinks you might like it. Bye bye.